Shalom. Before I begin this video, first and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kodash, and also double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually rule very well to this very day, that is continually feeding the flock through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, and also Shalom to the whole elect that is continually plowing in his work, that's doing the same things and giving diligence to make a call and election sure, in all faith, true sincerity, and also in all charity. Shalom. Now, topic of this video is going to be concerning the recent move that Russia and China just made concerning cutting ties with the American dollar. All right, because it's been quite a while, or actually it's been ongoing, concerning the process of moving away from the petrodollar, okay, in which now they're trying to come to terms as far as the new form of currency, or should I say a new form of international currency to use instead of using the dollar, because the dollar is based on debt. Okay, that dollar is based on debt, is based on a credit system. Basically a dollar, which now in today's terms is used as a note. Okay, which is deemed as a Federal Reserve note, in which now that's the form of currency that's being used, especially here in America, the dollar system, in which that system is failing because the dollar system is not backed by anything. All right, it's not backed by anything. Basically it's fiat currency. So with that currency is being used, and really you saw that during the time when you had the recession, when the recession came about, in which we're still in that recession. It never subsided. Okay, contrary to popular belief. And when the recession occurred, you had an influx of dollars that were being generated. All right, you had an influx of dollars that were being generated at a high rate, and really that made that bubble, because right now, as far as the dollar and also inflation rates, we're in the dollar system is in a bubble, to which that bubble is going to burst at any moment. And when it bursts, you're going to see prices skyrocket. All right. Even the current president, DJ Trump, he even mentioned that now we're in the economic bubble. Okay, and it's about to burst. And also these other nations know that. That's why you got the headers of removing themselves from the dollar, or the main ones that's trying to remove themselves from the dollar is China and Russia. That's why you see moves like these being made to get away from the dollar, because it's a failing system. All right. And also as well, as far as the dollar goes, it's also a currency of control. All right. So if America loses its grip on the dollar, that means they lose control. Okay. So just getting in a little bit of this article here. I'm not going to read too much on it. If you want to check it out, it's on RT. But the headline is dollar dump. Russia and China agreed to bilateral trade in national currencies during Putin-Xi meeting. Okay. So now you have Russia and China that are agreeing to bilateral trade in national currencies. Okay. Now, mind you, you had the dollar that was the main currency that was being used nationally. All right, which that's why I used the term petrodollar. Okay, because that was what was being used as a national currency. But now you got China and Russia, now they're creating their own bilateral, or should I say, they're creating their own national currency, which is why you had BRICS that was formed. All right, you can look that up on Google. All right, BRICS, which is BRICS, which those are abbreviations for the nations that are involved in that organization. Okay. So just to read in this article, it says Russia and China took another step away from the U.S. dollar after the two countries agreed to develop bilateral trade using the ruble, which is Russian currency, and the yuan, which is the Chinese currency. Okay. It says it was just one of the major deals reached after the presidents of the two countries, Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, held talks in Moscow on Wednesday. Russia and China intend to develop the practice of settlements in national currencies, Putin told journalists at the news conference following the talks. He added that the states have signed intergovernmental agreements on expanding the use of the yuan and the ruble in bilateral financial operations. Right, so they're expanding the use of the yuan and the ruble. All right, they're going back to the currency that which is actually backed by something instead of just made out of thin air. All right, so they're expanding their use to other nations to use that in trading. All right, and use that as a national currency and moving away from the dollar. Okay, which that causes the dollar to lose its value. And when the dollar loses its value, guess what? You have the market, or should I say the markets, which or the markets take effect to it. And by that, I mean that when a dollar takes a major blow like this, or take a blow like this in general, that means that the prices are going to change. All right, like I mentioned before, the American economy is in a bubble right now. So right now, at this point in time, is at the verge of bursting. Okay. Now, reading on, it says a draft government decree on the national currencies trade was released earlier during the day. The document stipulates that Moscow and Beijing will cooperate on development of national payment systems, as well as facilitate cross-border payments in other currencies. Okay. So, and that's all I'm going to read in this article, but that just goes to show you that this dollar is on its way out. Okay. You know, not only us, the prophets have been speaking about this, but you got other individuals that's actually plugged in to the status of the economy, and that's plugged in to what's going on concerning the dollar, and the message is the same, that the dollar is losing its value and the dollar is crashing. Okay, and all of them say the same thing. All of them that are in tune and are paying attention to what's going on with the dollar, the message is the same, that the dollar is going to crash eventually. All right, and actually it's going to crash very soon. All right, but you know, this current piece of news just goes to show you that once the dollar loses its value, then there's going to only be one way to facilitate a certain type of currency, and that's going to be by way of the market of beasts, which these things which are happening now is pertaining to prophecy, even though the people like to refute that until their face turn blue, until they and put in the ground pushing up daisies. But this is fact. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the precepts here, so I can just bear with me. All right, this book of James, the 5th chapter and the 1st verse. It says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten." And it's true, because this dollar system that's being used is based on debt. It's based on credit. Okay, and that in itself is corrupt. All right, because when it comes to the dollar, and actually, if you do research on currencies that were used throughout the course of history, you had a bartering system, you had gold and silver, and then you had notes that were used to represent gold and silver, and then you just had the Federal Reserve note. That Federal Reserve note, which is based on debt, okay? And guess what? Debt, if you go into the, I don't want to say definition, but when you go into debt itself, debt is the currency of slaves, okay? You know, debt is characterized as a form of currency for slaves, man. All right. So when you're dealing with the dollar, basically you're a slave. All right. So again, it says your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. All right. Verse 3, it says your gold and silver is cankered. All right, corrupted, and the rust of them shall be a witness, and you can't fix rust. All right. So no matter what they try to do concerning this current currency that they're using, it's not gonna work, because that rust is only gonna get worse and worse and worse. All right. It says, and it shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Yeah, if heap treasures together for the last days. Okay. Now I want to grab another precept here. Habakkuk, the second chapter, in the 6th verse. It says, shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. All right. So when it goes into where it says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, that is Edom in a nutshell, man. All right, which Edom is the true biblical nationality of the so-called white man. So what he does is go in and takes everything that he wants without sparing anything, because he is a thief. So when he goes in and takes, steals, rape, rob, and murder, and then he instills his own government, his own system, and injected into the place which he took over and stolen. All right. So again, it says, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay. And that's right. And that clay, the definition of that word clay in the Hebrew, all right, the definition of that word means debt. Okay. So Edom has laden himself with thick debt. All right. And that debt is piling up day in and day out. Okay. And Edom is going to continue to laden himself with debt until everything falls through. This man is not as wise as you think he is, man. All right. You know, people look at the so-called white man as the genius of today. But when you really go into the way that he set everything up, really, man, it's his own destruction. All right. And let you know how smart he is. Okay. Can't even help himself. If anything, he's destroying himself. This man's self-destructive. Okay. But I want to go into Revelations, the 13th chapter, and I'm ending off with this scripture because this is what we're heading towards. Once the dollar system is done, it's crashed, and there's nothing they can do with it, where to the point where it's only going to be used for toilet paper, you know, your toiletries. This is what's going to happen, man. This is the form of currency that's going to be used in the near future. It's Revelation 13th chapter, 16th verse, and this is the prophecy of the mark of the beast. It says, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. Okay. Now that mark, when you go into it, that mark is charagma in the Greek. All right. When you go into the root word of mark in the Greek, it means something that's implanted, okay, within the body. So the thing that's going to be implanted within the body is going to be the microchip, which they have been developing for years and years on end now, and is slowly but surely being integrated into this current system that you see right now. All right. Now, verse 17, it says, "And that no man might buy or sell, save he that hath the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name." So there's going to be no sort of transactions unless you have that mark. Unless you have the mark of the beast, which is the microchip. If you don't have the microchip, then guess what? You're not going to be able to function in the society, man. Because really, the microchip is your ID. It's your wallet. It's your everything, man. They're going to make it to where it's going to be convenient for the people, but at the same time, they're going to make it to where whether you have this and you're able to have everything at the wick of a hand, or the wrist of a hand, or you're not going to have it, where you're not even going to have your ID, you're not going to have any of your information or anything to make any sort of transactions with. All right? And that's the future that we're heading towards. Okay? So you're not going to be able to buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So again, that's why without this mark, without the microchip, you won't be able to function. That's why in that day, Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai has to lift up a standard for the elect, because the elect, along with the 1/3, is not going to partake they're not going to take the mark of the beast. They're not going to take the microchip. All right, which Lord's will, we're a part of that hopeful elect number. All right. So again, like I mentioned with the article, this is another blow to the dollar, which very soon, like I said before, man, look, everything's going to fall through. The dollar system's going to crash, and society, as you know, is going to change on a mass scale. And that's what we're waiting on. So I'm going to end off on that note. Once again, Lord's will is edifying to the body of Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, and to the members of the hopeful elect, those that are listening and believe. And I once again want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, Ba'Shem HaKodash. Also, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that continually rule very well. Shalom, peace and safety, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's given diligence to make a carnal election sure in this work, and putting out this word, prophesying continually in faith, in truth, and sincerity, and also in all charity. And with that, we're going to say shalom.